ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Or no, welcome to the Secret Invasion review. We're not back. This is the first episode. My God. I am not the same Trask Snail, and I'm joined by...
I'm Adam Hart, Caster Dilmas.
And I am the Conspiracy Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I incorrectly mentioned before, yes, we are here for the first episode of Secret Invasion. Weirdly enough, the first MCU show of the year. I feel like last year we were just getting bombarded with them. But yeah, this is the first one. Obviously, it sounds like we'll still get Loki in the fall at some point, and then the rest of the stuff TBD. We got X-Men coming up, but yes, we were doing this. So if you want to know our feelings, we reviewed every single show, you can go back and find that. You head to Patreon and find our rankings episodes. So if you're wondering, hey, what do you think about all the MCU stuff like that, we reviewed Guardians last month. So everything MCU we've talked about once and twice and 3 times over and stuff like that. But we will be back here every Wednesday, dropping on the Thursdays for the podcast feeds, talking about Secret Invasion. It's 6 episodes. Nick Fury is back to deal with these pesky little Skrulls. Taylor Field, when we're talking about this, because you want to be watching the social media, because tomorrow you're not getting not 1, not 2, but 3 episodes. You're getting this. You're getting a Nintendo Direct breakdown. You're getting Black Mirror. That's because a lot of us are away for the next few days, so we're all in a compact like we're doing it right now. But, you know, you got lots of stuff to hold you over till next week. Taylor, where can they find all that jazz?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find that with your net connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yes, and head down in the description, and everything you need to know is down below. Our video feeds, our audio feeds, our Discord. Go join that right now and have fun conversations, and go wish the man below some congratulations. Him and Madison just had a beautiful baby girl, so congratulations to him. You said it publicly now. I'm like, oh, the viewers can know now. But
where did you say this publicly? I guess I'm pretty out of the social medias, so...
Yeah, you don't have Facebook. That's why. The Facebook is where it is. And
I found
like
out
that.
10 minutes ago, but I love it.
yeah. Madison's still in the hospital, but no. So, yeah, congratulations to you two and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll talk about that in depth on After 9, your first few weeks of fatherhood, but welcome to the club, and try and get some sleep, sir. But yes, and then yeah, head down to the Patreon. You can send in reviews, questions, good vibes if you want, stuff like that. Get episodes ad-free, early, exclusive.
Please do that. I would love that.
Yeah, just send good vibes, and we'll read that and stuff like that. Samuel in the chat, congrats to great news. Enjoy the madness. But much like Nintendo Direct, we're getting into because we got lots to record tonight. So. Taylor Field, you're back, only a few days off, but if you're back, what did you think of your first episode here of Secret Invasion? About 50 minutes, meet Nick Fury, the introduction to what this show's going to be about.
I right out of the gate, I'll say I really did enjoy this show. But it's interesting because I did enjoy this show.
Okay, I heard you say didn't. I'm like, wow, he's starting off
horrible. No, I feel like it has... not nods, but like elements or components of Falcon Winter Soldier, and it's just I like that. I like that kind of like spy-esque, like intrigue kind of narrative, and I just feel like it's much more new, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because like the Skrulls I've only really experienced with Captain Marvel, and I'm pretty sure, well, obviously we've seen them pop up in Spider-Man Far From Home very loosely, but again with Monica Rambeau, very small instances. So to see this representation here following Captain Marvel, and maybe I'm riding on that hype train because I just watched Captain Marvel a couple weeks ago, I really got excited to kind of have that Falcon Winter Soldier kind of combined with everything going on, and just kind of following up on characters that are kind of really open-ended. Like, you don't really know ever since like Avengers Endgame, like what's going on with some of these old-fashioned characters. So it's cool to kind of have what?
Oh no, you're right. I just can't wait to talk about the ending of this episode. We're like, yeah, we definitely visit some characters for the last time.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just it's nice to kind of touch upon things that were really left mysterious in other MCU editions.
Fair enough. Mr. Muss, you were like me where, hype for this wasn't, we were hoping for a good show, but we weren't too hyped on it. How are you feeling after the debut episode?
Yeah, coming in like just true neutral, not unexcited, not excited, just like, where's the show going to take me? After the first episode, that has not changed at all. I'm still like exactly in the middle. There was nothing that really grabbed me particularly, and it's weird that this first episode already feels rushed, even though it's like a longer episode in terms of other MCU shows. We always talk about how the finales tend to be rushed. I felt like there was some storylines, some things here that were rushed, but I also didn't think any of it was like egregiously bad. So that's where I just ended up neutral. And, I'm obviously going to still keep going with the show, and I'm hoping for a bit more of a hook. But yeah, there wasn't that hook yet for me. I think it's a bit of setting up the chessboard, and hopefully we get into some more exciting, some more tense, some more suspense and all that. But I don't know, it didn't get there yet for me. So yeah, it's hard for me to feel too strongly either way, because I'm truly nowhere yet. I'm still floating in the middle.
Yeah, I think I'm, I always want to be versatile, but I'm pretty exactly where Dylan is, where it didn't blow me away. I didn't walk away being, I can't wait for next week, but I also didn't watch, oh man, this was really hard to get through awful, which is like, oh, that was like a, fun little 50 minutes, but it's a point where if someone said, hey, you can't watch the rest of the show, I'm like, okay, sure. Like, for some reason, like, if I had to work, like, of course, I love Marvel, so I'd want to watch it, of course. But I'm just saying, like, if it was like, hey, you got to give up something for Marvel, or, like, for some reason I couldn't see them for another year, like, okay, I'll wait, and maybe we'll see. There's definitely two things in here. Luckily, there wasn't a third, but there's two things in here they did that I absolutely hated, and we'll get into the spoilers, that I was not a fan of. Just things to do with stakes, and one to do, yes, with some certain characters where felt like we were going to promise some things. I was like, okay, that's what we're doing. And it's funny because it's like Taylor said, there's been things that have been left mysterious, but for me, and maybe we mentioned this on the predictions, where it's taking place present day. So it's like, what do we just got? We got Guardians. So this is literally, timeline wise, happens after Guardians, right? It just feels like the Black Widow movie, where it's just a little too late for me to really feel too invested. Like, the Captain Marvel thing was 18, 19? Was it 19? Yeah, same year as Endgame, I think, right? Yeah, it was Captain Marvel and Endgame. So, and that's what and I guess the problem is as well too, because COVID happened, right? So it delayed everything. So maybe I feel differently. It's just now 4 plus years later, it just feels like it's a little too soon. And I don't care about the Skrulls too much, and I feel like the opening was exactly how we thought it was going to go in predictions. There was one fun Skrull fake out here that I really liked. There's some interesting things being put forward, but I don't think so interesting that I'm going to be remembering enough in a couple days. I really liked Olivia Colman in here. She was her first debut here. I really like the character she's playing. She's a great actress, Academy Award winner. So Emilia Clarke was good in this. I know we'll talk about them all, but nothing to chew on really. So yeah, I guess I just didn't find myself, like Dylan said, being hooked by anything. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. They introduce a problem that I know is going to be resolved just because the way they introduce it. So, and I know that's always the case with Marvel stuff, but I feel like I'm hoping it would be more like Falcon Winter Soldier, where the stakes were, hey, it was more about the legacy of Captain America and the Shield, where this is a grander scale, which I'm just kind of tired with Marvel. So yeah, it was a fine outing. I think they also wasted some screen time. It's my name here, not the same. There's three separate characters, and I don't care, it's minor spoilers. There's three separate characters that have a conversation with Nick Fury about how he's not been the same since the snap. And they literally say, well, you've not been the same since that.
They're hitting you over the head with it. I had the same note. Yeah.
It's like it's like these were three.
They're trying to make him seem like an
episodes.
underdog, right? But it's like they're just saying it like very directly.
Yes.
I felt, yeah.
Especially because, like, it's not a spoiler. He's been in space for so long, so it's like, I don't think there's been much note to that to be like why he's been so different. He hasn't been around any of you. How would you know? So it just feels like some of the conversations we were getting, even the 50 minutes we're wasting time, because like I get from the first conversation he has, I get it. He's underdog. He's on the back foot. He doesn't know the world anymore. But I don't need three characters to tell me that Nick Fury is not the same. So it was a little poor and weaker on the writing. So if the quality stays like this, I feel like it's going to be like a lower mid tier as far as my ranking, but hopefully it steps up when we're done,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also kind of felt that it almost felt like this was the second or maybe third episode of a show, with the exception of Nick Fury like beaming down and like him just showing up and him being the main character. But I felt like in terms of some of the turmoil, all these different factions and stuff, and there's certain emotional beats as well that are like, you're doing that in the first episode? That's kind of a wild choice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It's not that I'm particularly confused. There's of course some question marks, which is what the show is all about. It's supposed to be a mystery and all that. But yeah, I guess I felt a bit of that. So hopefully, like, by the time we actually are in the second, third episode, and I'm maybe have a greater understanding of some of these things. But even the way that like the villain's set up, I feel like they really just throw you into it. It's like this guy's already been a villain, and it almost feels like something that has been set up in other Marvel shows. And like, I don't remember this guy. Like, I don't think he's been mentioned before, but it felt like it for sure.
Guy, my man sure likes to walk backwards a lot. Jeez Louise. Anytime the Skrull would turn to himself, he'd turn the camera and just like walk backwards slowly. I was over it. They did too many things too many times. But before we get into spoilers, we're on to read a comment from Sam, who's in our chat, but also on Patreon, said, really enjoyed Secret Invasion. Felt like a Marvel Mission Impossible and suit general viewers a lot more than Moon Knight and She-Hulk, which I agree on the She-Hulk front. I feel like that has a different taste. Moon Knight stuff because he had Oscar Isaac. I think it is more of a easier to consume one, but I do wonder too if just like I said, do scrolls, and I guess you got Sam Jackson. We'll probably talk about that next week when we get some ratings, just to see like. I think it is easier to take, but I also don't know if it's good enough that people are going to stick around for. Like I feel this one might have more success when all 6 episodes are out and people just want to watch them all together. But I guess we'll see in a couple days when we get ratings and stuff. So
I feel like the Sam Jackson effect. I'm curious how that'll go because I already felt in this episode that his demeanor and whatnot, like he's not the same. Memes aside, like just I feel like he's a lot more lighthearted. He feels like a lot more like a traditional Sam Jackson role in the way that Nick Fury in the past. Like I don't think anyone would put Nick Fury in their top 10 MCU characters just because he doesn't really get to do much. He's more of like a plot device sort of character. But I feel like obviously this show is starring him, all centered around him, and I feel like he's getting to chew the scenery a little bit more in a way that he hasn't before. But I don't know if that's going to get people to tune in because you wouldn't really know that. You wouldn't really expect that from who he's been. Maybe Captain Marvel, you got that expectation, but then to your point, Travis, that's already been a few years now because of all the delays.
Yeah, I'll point out spoilers, but there's definitely one scene where I'm like, oh, we haven't seen Nick Fury act this way at all. So that's where, again, that's the other thing too, why I'll always be there, because like I like Sam Jackson. I like seeing him as Nick Fury, and if he's doing new stuff, cool. It's a fun little, and that's why we'll get into spoilers, why some of the stakes kind of made me disappointed, because I was fine for a fun little venture with Nick, but with Marvel, they just can't keep things to a fun little venture all the time and stuff. But anything else before we get into spoilers?
I saw like online there was some discussion about like, the intro.
I knew you were gonna bring it up.
I have no idea what the story is of that. I just want to say like the intro was mystifying. I was like, whoa.
Like the credits, you mean?
Yeah, like the intro credits. So just the visualizations. Just like, whoa, this is crazy. But I don't know what the debate is on this.
Sorry, is mystifying a good from Taylor?
Good,
I don't know what that
good.
means. Okay.
Good.
I was like, whoa, this is tripping me out, and I love how it looks. It was super cool.
Yeah, what's the issue with it? Is there an issue? I'm confused.
The credits are made by AI. They're not made by... Yeah. So there's a mix of what happens is the director of the series, he said, I don't even know how AI works, but he said that they wanted to purposely use AI because to fit with the theme of the show, to feel like you're off put and like it's different and stuff like that. Now it has come out that it is... AI was used as a tool, and there was actual people that developed stuff like that. But it's this thing of like, we don't know how much of it is, how much of it wasn't, and stuff like that. So the big debate's been, you have a strike going on right now where the writers are saying, hey, we really don't want, AI to mess with our scripts or rewrite AI scripts and stuff like that. So some people, which I definitely agree to a point, argue it's a bad move in the middle of a strike about paying AI to use AI in this, but then the director gave the go ahead, and then like that's the thing, it's like still worked on by humans. It's a weird touch point. I liked the color scheme. I did not like the credits. And it's funny, right when I saw it at midnight, then I woke up, I saw this AI news, I was like, oh, that makes complete sense, because it looks like AI garbage sometimes. And don't get me wrong, sometimes AI stuff can make some great stuff. Somebody go, man, that's really impressive. But it always has that weird slanty pointiness to art, and that's what this felt like. And I wasn't last night being like, this is AI. I just thought like, this is like, I like the colors, but there's like, even they have the scroll and Nick Fury's faces, like it feels very blocky. It's like, it's weird. Like you don't have Sam Jackson's like tattered eye, so I'm like, okay, it's just like a choice. But yeah, that's been the big hubbub, that it was an AI creation. So
that's funny. No, I think it's fine. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I don't think I'd watch it again, but I thought it was better than other MCU ones, which is maybe a bad thing to say because more human beings worked on those potentially.
Costing people jobs.
But I think the reasoning though, like I'd have to read his actual quote before I go to get to his throat or anything. But that sounds like total bullshit. I guess the idea of like you don't know who to trust and like even the
Yes.
opening credits is an imposter, but that seems like a stretch. And like the obvious reason it was to like save money or something. But that is pretty funny, I gotta say.
Okay, when we reached out to the AI vendors, that was part of it. It just came right out of shape-shifting. Scroll world identity, who did this? Who is this? Like many people, Salim says he doesn't really understand how the AI works, but was fascinated in the ways in which AI could translate the sense of foreboding he wanted in the series. We would talk to them about ideas and themes and words, and then the computer would go off and do something, and then we could change a little bit by using words, and it would change. So that was the quote. Like he just wanted the viewers and stuff to feel uneasy because it's made by something not of this world. But it's just, I still think you like give that to somebody, but again, they're AI renders, so it's like a people that craft it. And it's like kind of, I think they work at the AI and they work off of that a bit.
Yeah.
But I still argue you could probably get somebody like just say like, hey, these are the things we're hidden for. Could you make us some art that way? So I would much rather probably the people get paid, but
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my perspective on this is that the state of like prestige TV intros, so many of them just suck so bad, and a lot of them are made by like the same 2 or 3 studios, and they all feel the exact same, and they all suck for the most part. Like I think it's horrible. So the fact that this is at least somewhat more compelling for me, I think it's just shows that it's like, well, it was created by someone other than the same like 2 or 3 houses that are making every other show's intro. So no, that's interesting though.
yeah. There you go. Well, let's get into it. So we're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll get into spoilers. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So this is where I want to start because I want to get this out of the way because it'll go with some of my themes. So, we'll get into Nick Fury. He gets back. We'll get into Ross and everything and stuff like that. But anyways, at one point, Fury's back, and he's talking with Talos. He's talking with Maria Hill, which I have a funny thing to bring out Talos, but I'll wait. So anyway, so they're talking, stuff like that. And they're talking about how there's some like spies in America and Russian working together. And it looks like they're setting the table, right? That there are the good Skrulls and the bad Skrulls, much like we heard about. And then they learn about this bomb being made, and then they're talking about they got to get this bomb. And Fury asks like, why? Like, he sets Talos up for the line, like, let's steal this bomb. And Talos like, if this bomb goes off, it'll be the end of your species. And I was like, oh my god, like what? Like I was fine with again, Winter Soldier. With Hydra in Black Widow, we had the Black Widows, and I think there's another one. I was fine. Okay, we're getting another.
Like Shang-Chi didn't have like another one of those super orgs too, or something.
Maybe, yeah, it wasn't a 10 ring, yeah, and that's kind of the same thing. Like, I'm fine with, okay, if the Skrulls are going to be, they're going to break it from the inside the system, we're going to go step by step, take over the government, world, I'm fine with that. But already episode 1, there's a bomb that can eliminate the human species. This happened at 14 minutes. I was ready to pause and just say, I'm out. Because like, that's like, I was ready for just like, and that's what it's still going to be. But I just like the idea of Nick Fury on a smaller venture taking out, because they always go, why won't you call the Avengers? And in the press, Nick Fury's or Sam Jackson's like, well, for him, this is a personal problem stuff. So it's like, okay, if it's a smaller problem and it's personal, I can buy that. The second there's a bomb that can take out the human species, it's like, why are you not calling Captain America? Why are you not calling Captain Marvel?
Wasn't it more like symbolistic and not actually like a bomb? Because I thought it was just like this small little act of terrorism that goes off. That's it. The world is going to descend into world war and just like Russia versus America.
No, Talos is literally the extinction of your species.
Through like its own annihilation though, and just like tactical planning. I didn't get the sense it was actually like a bomb that was going to wipe out the whole planet.
I hope. Well, I don't think that, but like I hope not. But like it was very odd then how it was placed. Of like, why would one bomb just be the end of the human species?
Because that's an act of war, and just Russia launches nukes, America launches nukes, and then it's game over.
But like, I don't buy that. I really don't. It's like in this world, in our world, maybe in our world, they've been through the snap, they've been through aliens, they've been through Ultron, and like a couple nukes are now supposed. a couple nukes are going to be supposed to be the end of the world. So, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'll give you that. I hope that it's not, because I rewound it, and you're right that they never once mentioned like a specific bomb. So that's why I was like, why is Talos talking about this? But I still don't even get on board with this idea of, I don't know, even the beginning with Ross and this guy talking about like this is like it's gone to the top and everything. Like I just don't feel the sense of dread yet. Like I don't feel the sense of like we can't recover from the Skrulls. And maybe a couple episodes in I will, but I don't know how I feel about the adventure then. So maybe I'll have to look out for that. I feel much better if it's not like an actual bomb, but Tal said that and I was very confused.
I mean, I also, I mean, I don't know Talos on a personal level. I'm not even first name basis with him. Like how much is he a reliable narrator in this stuff anyway? I guess would be another question that I would bring up, in that, I don't know, is what he's saying like one-to-one truth, or is he really just trying to get Fury's attention? Does he have an ulterior motive, and so he's like making things seem worse than they are? These are possible things too, right?
Yeah, and I think they'll play that up at some point, right? Because it seems like the show's about who you can trust and stuff like that. And obviously, as a daughter, that's connected to the bad Skrull, so that could definitely play course. Even though I think he will end up staying on the good side.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the opening? I think we all kind of called Everest Ross as being like a potential Skrull. Like I feel like even when we met him, he was very just like, oh, where's Fury? Like we should talk to Fury. Like. Or he was doing the reverse, like, oh, why do you want me to call Fury? But it seemed like he was trying to poke to get information, and that was the first setup of, okay, there's Skrulls that are posing as characters we know. He gets shot. Actually, no, he falls off a building, which I was very happy with that reveal, because whenever Ross was starting to get up, at this point I already thought he was a Skrull, but like, man, if Ross survived this. And it was very interesting, too, where he gets shot, and Talos, like, he falls off the roof, and Talos walks up, and Marie Heal's like, oh, Talos, it's you. Couldn't, like, any other Skrull just turn into Talos? Like, I don't know, like, can no one else look like Ben Mendelsohn? So it was an odd little thing, but I guess the voice and stuff. But I thought the opening was, it was fine.
Well, couldn't they? No, they could change the voice too, because I mean,
Yeah, I
like
guess
even
so,
like
yeah.
what's his name, Agent Ross?
Yeah, that was his. Yeah, that was
His voice has
right?
changed. So yeah.
So how does they know that's Talos? When Marie was like, "Oh, thank God, it's you, Talos." I was like, "How does she
Well,
know?"
that bit her in the ass later, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Damn.
Sorry if this is a dumb question. So is Everett Ross, like, has he always been Skrull? Is that just for this show and he still is out there? Like, what's the grand scheme of this?
I take it that this was just this show, but it would be we will learn that. Like I'm trying to think. So that means in Black Panther, when he got shot, they took the Skrull back to Wakanda.
They infiltrated Wakanda. That's what they.
Hey, yeah, maybe there is.
That worked.
Yeah. I'm taking it as
He did
this was
seem like a
just-
random character to be included on that journey to an extent. So it would make sense if it was also an elaborate ruse by a Skrull.
That's why he was in for Black Panther Wakanda Forever as well, because we were always like, oh, this character doesn't make sense. But then it's like, oh, he didn't have that much of a journey here. I'm going to say it's just a Skrull posing. The Everett Ross we know and love is still kicking.
No one love. You love the character, would you say?
I like Martin Sheen, so sure.
Okay.
Martin Freeman, sure. What
Martin
the fuck is his actual
Martin
name?
Sheen.
That's Charlie
Ambiguous
Sheen's dad.
Martin.
Martin Freeman, I got it right? Martin Freeman, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I thought it was I mean, it fooled me. I guess I was maybe surprised to see a Skrull situation that quick. I guess I thought the show would build up to something like that more, and really you're going to spend a lot of time with these characters before we do one of those switches, and then, we get another one later in the episode. So I guess it's kind of reset my expectations in terms of how frequently we're going to have people messing around. And I guess every week we're going to have a couple characters who are acting fishy in some way would be my expectation at this point. So yeah, I think for an opening for the show, introducing the idea, it's like, all right, I guess we're going full throttle into this thing. So I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I was knowing and expecting someone to be like Skrull related, and I felt like, okay, the crazy conspiracy guy kind of sold me. Like, okay, he's kooky enough. He probably isn't, but I wasn't expecting to see Ross this early in the show. There's something very off-putting though about him. Like as it continued on, I felt like he was deflecting the questions, and he was just like, yeah, like, what do you got? I can't do this. I can't go to Nick Fury without any concrete evidence. I was like, okay, that's super sus. And yeah, sure enough, the guy whips out the ultimate little thing out from behind his printer or whatever he had going on there. So Yeah, when he took that fall though, I thought, holy shit, like that's like did they just kill Ross off? Like no one's safe in this show at this point. But no, only reaffirmed my suspicions that yeah, he was a Skrull. And I guess like his point was to try and learn where Nick Fury was or what Nick Fury was doing, but also learn what this guy had on the group of Skrulls. Is that correct? Like, did he have
No,
two
I think he
motives or
was.
just the
I
one?
think he was just learning what they had, and he was faking about the Nick Fury thing. That's how I took
Okay.
it. That he wouldn't actually known that. So
You think they'd have some kind of detection device for dealing with Skrulls, like some kind of like scanner, just wear a pair of shades that show a different like anatomically incorrect, not like human related component. I
Wouldn't
don't
have
know.
much of a TV show at that point. I think.
well, and plus like.
I'm sure Daredevil can sniff them out.
Oh, 100%. And I guess, too, it's supposed to be kind of even the way this character was pitching it to fake Ross was like, oh, there's so many, like, there's all these clusters. And Ross is like, oh, well, there's not too many to do that. So I feel like some know about the Skrulls, but it's a small amount of people that do. And the people that do, they think it's maybe like a smaller situation than it actually is. So maybe I feel like you might get that in the future for like after the show. Like, it'd be a good idea to, because I think the president will be a Skrull and stuff like that, or someone big will be a Skrull. So I think eventually they will get on that and do some sort of, once they kill off the storyline.
Yeah, and I mean they showed Rhodes already. They showed him in here,
Yep.
Rhodey, and kind of working alongside the president and all that. So I feel like what you just mentioned there, I feel like they're already like that. It was a very short scene that he was in there, but I think they were laying that breadcrumb down to lead to something like that in a future episode.
Imagine if that's all Rhodey's in. It's just that scene right there.
Well,
That gets me the
in the
points.
trailer, he
I'll
was
take
like
it.
in
You
a
get the point.
he was like at a restaurant booth, like talking to someone, right?
Yeah, of course.
It was
He'll
a
be
separate
back
scene
more,
then. Yeah, yeah.
And again, too, like with Rhodes, I find it interesting where in Civil War he was with the Accords, and then in Endgame he just kind of told Ross to like f off, and now they're back to like get Fury and get him. Like, they're up to,
Wishy-washy
like,
for sure.
yeah, like I just feel like what like I mean that's what Army Wars will give us. I'm like, what is the status of this character? Like, what is like where is he in the grand scheme of on our side? And I'm sure, of course, I'm not saying he's gonna turn Fury in, but it just felt weird. It's like, haven't we been here before? Like, I feel like he shouldn't be the kind of lapdog of like political figure says do this and he just jumps, and maybe he won't. Maybe he'll go there to warn them.
You know
but
what could explain a wishy-washy character?
he's a
him being a
Skrull.
Skrull.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
because
he
what
can
if
walk
what
again,
if that's like a bit of the twist is that instead of the president being, that's what maybe a lot of people think, it's a good red herring. Instead of the president being the Skrull, it was actually him all along. So you can kind of feed him information, change some stuff around. And I feel like in terms of what this show is, the budget, the kind of level of characters we're going to see here, like that's the biggest MCU character you'll get that could be a Skrull, right? It's not like they're gonna bring Tom
think
Holland
so.
in here and it's like, oh, actually it was a Skrull Tom Holland like Spider-Man. Where I feel like that one it could actually have a big impact because, I mean, yeah, Nick Fury. I mean, they've already done it in episode 1, but I think that would be a bit more exciting. So yeah, that's my new prediction going forward here. You know.
Imagine if like I don't know if they could legally do this, but imagine if they had some big fallout with Sony and they made it so like, oh yeah, that Peter was a Skrull in No Way Home. So every time you watch
Oh
No Way
my
Home,
god, that would be
it's
wild.
Toby, Andrew, and Tom as a Skrull. Like you're just like, oh, this is a Skrull.
And it's
the whole
revealed
time.
in the second to last episode of Secret Invasion, just randomly in a post credit.
Yeah.
Like,
They're like, oh, you don't want to do a new deal with us? Okay, we got an idea for the last appearance of Tom Holland, and just like every time you watch No Way Home, you're like, oh, that's a Skrull.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it's Rose and the president. Maybe there's a combo, right? Because he seemed pretty okay with it. But no, I think it will be Rhodes, and he's just gonna give him like they're coming after you and stuff, and we'll see. And yeah, we would kind of skirt over, but yeah, Fury lands again. That's where it's always tough for me to buy in the MCU. They're like, oh, there's all these things that have happened, but nothing's made him come down other than this, which I get it. Skrulls was his problem, but I just feel like there has been a lot of stuff that's happened in the MCU since Endgame that I feel like Nick Fury would maybe want to come down for, but I guess not. That's fine, whatever. He feels he has to come down for this. Even we were talking about this in non-sports, seeing him do that, like, we learned that Talos' wife passed away because they didn't need to pay another actress to like be in this show. So it's like they have this big emotion where they put their heads together, and that's something where it's like I've never seen Fury be like that. Like never seen him be that type of caring. And obviously this is a character that he's known since the 90s. So now that's 30 years plus
True,
in like the
yeah.
MCU continuity. So there is a connection there, but it was just a little odd in a good way to see, wow, this is to see him interacting with somebody. Cause even Captain Marvel, we got a little bit of that, but they were just becoming friends at the end of the journey. So I did like that. I did not so much. I didn't need to be reminded of Nick Fury's, he's not the same, but I like seeing him kind of with a more closer knit type of friends or people and stuff like that. So, and I think Sam Jackson brought it.
This might be a dumb question, but can Skrulls like create a new person? I'm now just wondering, like, is the Ben Mendelsohn likeness, like, did he just essentially steal that identity from someone, or did he like create this new looking person, like a character creator kind of vibe?
Well, that guy was like Nick Fury's boss, wasn't he? Because Nick Fury at the time was just like talking with him and Captain Marvel and everything. So
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
you-
If that is
yeah,
the case,
you're
I
right.
totally forget. I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
there was the autopsy scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
The creating, I don't know. I would feel it's probably a bet in one comic they say yes and one they say no.
Yeah.
I would take it as what I've known is they're always shapeshifters. But then what does that mean for that boss that he took over the identity for 90
Just
since the
homeless,
90s?
living a bad
They
life.
had to
now.
kill him and stuff like that. Like, it's for the greater good. And poor Sam doing his War Machine has to take out this former Shield president and stuff like that. But so yeah, I guess he's still posing as this guy that worked in Shield a couple of years ago or something like
He
that.
really liked the aesthetic of him, so he's like,
Yeah.
"That's what I want to be when I'm."
He's
when I
he's
grow
even
up."
choosing to be an older version of him, not just stay young.
Yeah, sure, he's aging.
Yeah, it's a very odd
Even though he's
choice.
120, but he looks like a 55-year-old version of
Yeah.
yeah.
Not much sense there. No.
It's very
But it's fine. It's fine. What about you, Tay? What do you think about how did you feel about the first few scenes with Nick Fury coming back?
Again, I loved how alien it felt. That's again that scene where he's just dropping out of the ship and you see just a long like alien like body to him was really, really cool. And he not to quote this show, but there's something off. He's not the same since the blip. He
Not the
feels
same
very,
since the
very.
blip, Nick.
It's gonna be the new "You're lying."
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that
you're not
whole
the
thing.
same.
Yeah, he does feel different, and it's interesting seeing him out of the loop. And I don't know, it's still convoluted why he was staying up on Saber building his spaceship, and like he obviously had
He's being
funding for
cagey
the
about
president.
that.
He is being
Yeah.
cagey because like the last time I saw him up there, he was tanning in his little sun booth on this spaceship, like just
Well, it's
soaking up
fake
life.
Tan. It wasn't a real tan. It wasn't real
Fake
sun,
tan,
remember?
yeah. So I don't know what he's really up to up there, and then we also have the Marvels where he's up to some other things there. So I don't know. He just came
could
down
be it,
looking
though.
rugged.
The
That could
answer
be
could
it.
be the Marvels. Yeah, because they keep asking him, like, what are you doing up there for so long? And he's like, oh, trying to get Saber up and running. But whether I think near the end of this show or Marvels, we'll find out that he should be doing. There should be some sort of reason why he's specifically up there. I believe he was working with Saber, but I feel like there is maybe a bigger threat. But then at the same time, why does he walk away? So, but yeah, he was semi-caged. Of, yeah, I'm just setting up sabers, which I like. I always like Fury. I like holding some stuff close to the chest. So. Close to the vest, I should say. I don't know, whatever the expression.
I've always
was.
wondered, yeah, because it's like either way, it's in the same spot roughly,
Yeah.
whether it's the chest or your vest.
Close to the heart.
Close to the heart. There you go, a little Rush reference. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add on Nick Fury himself beyond kind of what we said in the opening. I'm liking him so far. I love Sam Jackson. I think he gets to be a little bit more fun and playful, and some of his dialogues a bit more intriguing. And he doesn't have to be only the plot guy now. He can have like his own personality because it's a TV show. There's a lot more time in it, and there's a lot more screen time for him specifically. So I'm liking what we're getting so far, and yeah, he feels like he has changed. I don't know if the way that I feel he's changed is what they're referencing. I feel like they're trying to make him seem like
Yeah.
more downtrodden or like less motivated or passionate or something.
almost
But to
more
me,
paranoid,
he
too,
seems
of,
like more
like-
laid back so far.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a bit like the viewer here, where I'm in episode 2 or 3. I feel like that's where he's at, and to an extent he doesn't fully get it. Now obviously shit gets real at the end of the episode pretty quickly, but
Maybe that's it. They're just kind of
Yeah.
insinuating that he's missing that killer instinct. Maybe that's it too.
and
Like,
yeah, maybe
I-
this is the thing that kicks him back into game face, gets the game face back on, and he can I guess get a little bit more serious going on in here. But yeah, I guess one thing I wanted to mention too is like the scene with Sonya, I forget exactly how that's pronounced, but he gets like kidnapped and brought to her place, which I feel like this whole thing was kind of strange, and I was wondering why it had to happen. Like, is the only reason she wanted to talk to him to find out if he had a connection to Talos or to get any info on Talos? Is that simply it, or is there any other layers to that I'm missing?
I don't think you're missing any layers. I think it's just to introduce a new player that's going to be around this season and will pop up and do some troubles. But I think it's the same thing. She's just looking for information around, like, what do you know about Talos or these other people and stuff like that. So I think it was pretty simple to start off with, but I think it will get more complex. I hope.
I guess, yeah, I just felt like the idea of kidnapping him rather than, I feel like if you set up a meeting, he would have like met with her. But I also, they wanted him to get into her office so that he could plant the camera so that we could get information about her when he's not there, and he
holograms.
Could, yeah, like I don't know. It just felt a bit too maybe plot devicey, and the actual writing and realism of that scene didn't really fit. And I feel like realism is going to be kind of important for the show. Obviously, there's aliens and all sorts of crazy shit going on, but they do want it to feel more grounded in some way. That could be totally wrong based on the scale that we've already talked about, and like there's already some huge explosions and fight scenes and whatnot. So that might not be actually true, but I felt like that whole thing was a bit strange, though I do think Olivia Colman is fun. I like what she's doing so far. Not that she's, getting to act her ass off or anything like that.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, they want him in there to put the camera there, right? But it's like he was getting kidnapped, and as far as I know, that wasn't premeditated. Like, he didn't know he was going to get kidnapped. So
he's just Inspector Gadget. He just keeps that stuff with him, I guess.
Yeah. I would have liked it better, and maybe this is what they're trying. Okay, here's what I'm going to say in a sentence. I would have liked it better if, like what Dylan said, they set up the meeting, and then he puts the camera there because you go, oh, this is why he wanted a meeting. He just wanted to get the camera there in general. Because then you look and go, oh, that's Nick Fury being smart.
Some good cunning.
But then I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to say Nick Fury, well, he's not the same guy. This Nick Fury might not do this. But
he's still got cameras in his pockets, though. Oh, you forget it.
And he still did it. So it's just like, well, maybe he failed upwards, but he still went up, So it's just like I wasn't sure what they were trying to do with that. I hope, my worry with Olivia Colman is there's going to be a good performance there, but my worry is by the time we get to the end of the 6 episodes, we'll go, was this character needed? And I don't know. We'll see. From this episode, it didn't feel like it so far, but
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Let's take another ad break here because we're going to get another character who apparently wasn't needed, so we'll be right back. Oh, excuse me. All right, and we're back. So I want to give you a quote here. People do press, they're doing interviews and all this stuff. I don't know who. Oh, she's talking to TV Line. Mr. Colby Smolter says. Colby Smolter says, "Secret Invasion allows the most depth I've ever been able to show."
Oh no!
I'll start again. Secret Invasion allows the most depth I've been able to show of Maria Hill. Now, this is Marvel. This is MCU. We've seen many people die and come back. They didn't show us the full scene, so maybe at the end that body turned to a Skrull. Maybe there's something there. And I'm hoping there's something there, right? Because this is one thing that people sometimes say, hey, did the Disney Plus shows hurt MCU? Was it too much MCU? Did it water it down? And that's a debate. I think there's pros and cons for both of them. But the thing that I like about the MCU was, hey, we might have never got a Loki movie, we might have got a show. So there's lots of characters. WandaVision, right? So there's characters like Maria Hill, who Colby Smolter's great actress. She's been in since Avengers. She's been given nothing. She's an important character that happens in the comic books too, especially like Civil War time stuff. Like she's, all the tools are there, but each movie, she's in it for 5 minutes the most. She just gets to be Nick Fury's side person, says a few lines, and that's about it. So this is one thing where I was like, hey, we get a show with Sam Jackson, which we got a lot of, but I'm excited to see more. And Colby Smolter's like, finally, we're gonna get to see, like, I think Maria Hill, that could be like we talk about, like, oh, maybe not top 10, but like, oh, finally, I really, really enjoy this character. I get what they're doing. I get what they're trying to give us the stakes of anyone could die and go. But once you've lost Maria Hill, we got Talos and Rhodes. Like it's not like the stakes are that much big. So if the death is final, it's a big con for me. It's just I'm fine with it. Just maybe at the end of the series, like I would have taken that. Like I would have loved 6 episodes with Maria Hill. But if this is it, man. If you were to chalk up, maybe if we were to do a ranking of the most disappointing MCU characters, Maria Hill is top of that list for me in the top 3 because I thought we were going to get some good stuff here. And as of right now, as this recording, it seems like no. So.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. I mean, this once again with my theory, this is like feels like a second, third episode. Like this could have been a great mid-season like twist. Like wow, we did not expect her to die at least this early, and that would really set Nick Fury into overdrive. But yeah, I absolutely wanted more time between them, and yeah, maybe the start of the next episode is that scene extended, and she's actually a scroll in that scene, and the real Maria's somewhere, and then we have to ask the question of how long is the Maria that we known been a scroll and all that. But yeah, I think for how little screen time she has had, almost all of that screen times with Fury, and I thought they've always had great chemistry for what they're given, how much time, how much space they're given to actually work with those characters and whatnot. And so, and even like the scene they have here, like other than the kind of generic dialogue that every character is saying, their little chess scene, I thought it was kind of cute and wholesome in a way. And I was excited to see this a little bit of a buddy cop moment between these two, and Talos and third wheeling in there. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed by this, and I think it just didn't have any. It didn't really land at all for me because yeah, she's been around for a long time, but I don't have that love for her yet. So I don't personally feel that invested. You needed to build up more of her, and this show, even 2 or 3 episodes, I think would have been enough to get me there to like really feel that death. But instead, it just feels like I don't even really know. I guess it's supposed to make you hate the villain, and now we're really motivated. And Nick Fury is, he's got the game face on and all that. Yeah, but I don't. He's already like blowing up people in like the street. Like I feel like he's a bad guy. I get it. Like as a villain, he's a villain here. I don't think I needed that to push it over. So I'm really curious what they have in terms of will like Gaia, like Talos' daughter, like quickly switch over and then she'll be a main player with Fury. I just feel like there's with Martin fucking Freeman or Short, whatever this guy's last name is.
Freeman. I confirmed. Yeah.
Like I feel like we've already lost so many people that Nick Fury, our main character, our protagonist, would interact with. Because I don't think Sonya, him, and like I don't think they'll be hanging out because that was a weird little meeting they had, and I don't foresee them hanging out after this and stuff.
No.
So, yeah, it seems like a very weird choice, and I there's got to be a reason why the writers decided to do this, especially this early, if it's not a fake out. So I'm curious to see what that is, but right now I find it hard to believe that was a good idea.
My worry is they just do it because they make it a must-see show. When you hear they killed off an MCU character, people go, oh man, there's some stakes to that show. And I guess I understand that if it's a business point of view. I just feel like you said, you still could do that and have it maybe happen early on. If it's not the finale, mid-season or something. So, Taylor, what do you feel about the Marie Hill Wall? Do you think it's real or not? And then 2, if it is real, where do you stand on it?
I don't think it's real. I think it's just a cliffhanger, although I don't also feel like there's much that they have with that character that they really need to keep her around in the greater
this could have
MCU
been it, though.
for.
Give her a good send-off. This is not a good send-off.
Yeah, no, they send her off all right, but it's debatable if it's good or not. I was not expecting
smiling
that,
Nick Fury scroll.
I was totally invested at this point when the explosion went off and it's chaos, and then it's like, Hill, then she goes bam and just shoots him. Like holy fuck,
that did get me. I didn't think it was so that was good. I didn't see that being a scroll that shot her. So,
and I wasn't sure like how Maria took it, because when the real Nick shows up and she's like, it was you, I think that's what she said. It's like is she blaming him?
Fury shot her.
Yeah, just blaming him.
So now
you
just you kill this character off that's barely in screen time and make her seem like an idiot. Man, what a terrible send off. Like, why would Nick Fury shoot you? You're dealing with Skrulls. Clearly you know it's him.
The greatest depth that the character's ever seen. Which, I mean, she hasn't had much, so maybe that's fair. But I feel like she was overselling it in the... Maybe they told her, like, before you do this press thing, like, truly try to undersell that you're going to die in the first episode. We don't want that spoiler to get out.
The Skrulls. Now, I have a question here, and I don't know why I thought that this was something that Talos touched upon in Captain Marvel. I can't remember. Do they have to touch their target to be able to transform? Because didn't they?
Do you mean like the first time, or
just maybe first time or period? So this would mean like this, because I think they in the training camp or the military secret base, like the guy has to touch the target. I think, or no, he doesn't. He looks at him and changes. Then he gets his mind control stuff.
Sorry, now I'm just imagining if the rule is that they do have to touch the person again. I'm imagining that Ben Mendelsohn just has that guy locked up in a fucking cell so that he can change back into his persona whenever he wants. But I mean, even in this episode, we saw him be a Skrull and then like change back into Ben Mendelsohn. So I don't think you need to. I mean, even getting down on the beach in Captain Marvel, right? Like they just look at the
See somebody.
beachgoers, right, and like changing
that's
them.
true.
So,
Totally
yeah.
true.
I thought you were about
Okay.
to ask if that guy touched Nick Fury. I thought that's where we're going here. No, I think they can just change
brushed
on
his shoulder.
Yeah.
Got him. Yeah.
I think they can just change on
Add
command.
to
And
the
even then,
Pokedex.
like, I guess we'll see. But like, why did the Skrull have to be like smiling when he shot her? Like I don't know why he'd be personally like wanting to kill Hill. I don't know. It was a weird touch to me. Like, Nick Fury, just, I don't know. Anyways,
Just trying to
continue,
mess with
Taylor.
her, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Last image for Reveiw. She thought Nick Fury shot her and was laughing. That's what she thought.
It was you. You were never the
could you?
same. You're never the
You've
same.
changed
after
so
the blip.
much since.
Yeah, yeah, you changed.
The Fury I know never would have shot me.
Yeah, I gotta get that screenshot of crazy looking. Like Nick Fury's looking like Django Unchained, like like Sam Jackson, or Hateful Eight. So you think it's a fake out? You think she's still alive?
I think she's still alive. I mean, I'm pretty sure she was still alive and writhing in pain as like Sam Jackson was like, "Oh no, like we can't do this," and Talos is like, "Let's go, let's get out." I'm pretty sure
Fury's like,
someone
"Hang
will
on,
rescue her.
I'm gonna shoot her in the head just to put her out of her misery. No.
Like I know the
Just laughing maniacally.
the Skrulls. The Skrulls won't take her over at their like compound because at this point, like, which would have been great. Like, to be honest, this guy did a fucking stupid thing. He should have like
True.
taken her out low key, got her out of there, and then just quickly throw someone in there immediately, and then just like
Because they can
lock her
take
up
their
at
memories
base.
now. They said
Exactly. So
And then
missed
you can-
opportunity.
Yeah, infiltrate using her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff.
And you could have the
Yeah.
payoff there, but I guess not.
No,
May-
they're
or
going
did they
for
do that
random Russian
later?
guy.
Maybe they do that later where they bring back her and she's like, "Oh, I am alive," but she's actually just a scroll.
But who's buying
could
that?
be-
Nick Fury would see that a million miles away.
Would he?
I feel like. I think so.
He got kidnapped in this episode. Remember Winter Soldier? They
He
tried to
said he
kidnap
was
him?
supposed. He said he wanted to be kidnapped. Yeah, I let your boys kidnap me so we could meet or something like that.
She even called them her goons. I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, "These are the worst goons I have," and you still got caught. By
yeah." Okay,
you
well,
want to
you
put the
think
camera down.
you think he's still alive? Okay, well, I guess we will find out, and probably at least I think we don't see her by episode 3. I think it's done. I hope it's not some stupid like finale thing where she helps in like the last battle, then the post credits. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just because you just get shot in the gut." But
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. But
Sure.
yeah, Dylan, what do you feel about Talos and the Amelia Clark? Her name was Gaia, I guess that was
Gaia,
her name.
yeah.
Yeah, and that dynamic. Obviously, they're on opposing sides. We can talk about some predictions where it looks like she's leading the bad or enemy Skrulls, whatever you want to call them, Terror Skrulls. Well, she's not leading. She's working with them, and now it seems like she's kind of in a wishy-washy state of which direction she's going to go, because she gave them the information about the bag, but was that because they turned it on her, or was she turning it on her dad? We don't know. Who can you trust?
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of her because obviously she's a great actress, and I have that character in my draft, so I'm excited to see where she goes. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think really the weak thing for me here is the reveal of her mom dying and her reaction to that, because it's just another one of those things that, like, I don't know, you should build some tension, some suspense. He can mention that she died just to Nick or, whoever he's talking to. They can talk about that. That's been a thing. And they can even say, "Oh, yeah, she doesn't know about that yet." And that could be some big reveal when I'm more invested in the character. But instead, they've just done it a bit too soon. So it just seems like a bit of a miss. And I don't know. It's so on the nose what they're trying to do, right? Like it's surprising with this information. As soon as it happens, like cue the sad music, and they're really trying to hit you. But it's like, no, you got to build up to that before it's gonna really land. And so I think once again, just like the Colby thing, they're just jumping, or Kobe thing. What's her name? Sorry,
Kobe Smulders.
Oh my God, yeah, Kobe Smulders. That's a confusing name. Like I don't know, they're just jumping the gun too much on it. So I think that's the thing that really didn't work for me. And the dynamic between them yet, I got to see more of it. Obviously, they have a complicated relationship, but it's just one of those things that I've talked about a lot now, where it's like, okay, her mom died, and we're supposed to care just because it's a familiar connection, not because we've been given any reason to care on screen. Like it's just a very level one sort of thing. I don't really know how I feel yet about new Skrullos. Scrollos, his name is, this establishment they have going on here, this scroll refuge kind of camp going on, little community, 500 strong. There's some interesting things going on there. But once again, I feel like this is kind of the chessboard sort of thing where they're throwing all the pieces down, trying to set everything up, and hopefully it really lands in some future episodes when conflicts are happening between these different factions, between our main characters, the different scroll factions, and we have a better understanding of them. But nothing particularly grabbed me too far yet. There's this kind of dynamic with Peter, and I'm guessing he's going to become a bigger character because they really tried to highlight him, and she was talking about, oh, warriors get to go out. So obviously he's going to become a warrior, and he's going to be a relevant character. So hopefully that's some good stuff there later on.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, interesting seeing these new head honcho scrolls, the guys that I've never seen them before, and I don't know if they have any strong connection or tie-ins into the comics, but it was I feel like it was a low-key kind of reveal because when Emilia Clarke is down below and I like Gravik, is that his name?
Gravik, yeah.
Gravik. So you see, like, it was like the Deal or No Deal, like the banker situation, because he's up high just watching, like, from behind the blurred glass. But I mean, that's window frosting. How you seeing through the window frosting? He's not seeing anything. So, I felt like seeing the mysterious character up there, and then just low-key having him in the cafeteria talking to the guy, like, yeah, we're gonna do this. It just seemed very, I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand with this guy. Again, it was very weird seeing him just like taunt Fury, like obviously in the bar, and then taunt him like earlier on, just going from like kid to bar guy to girl, and then obviously Nick Fury in the whole event thing out in the town square. But yeah, it's just I want to know exactly what like the limit is here, because this base has like 200 of these scrolls, and it seems like it's like a safe haven for sure, but. Yeah, it's also funny seeing them all live in Chernobyl as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they got their little like, show us your true side, and then you got to take that off, and and then she said this line of like, you have 8 days? It's like, I don't know why he has an 8. I guess because he's just homeless, right? But when she like they bring in that refugee at the first, I mean, you meet Emilia Clarke, and they have that guy. I just didn't know why he couldn't get any food. Like he can turn anybody.
I also thought it looked very funny when, like, obviously the thing, like, sometimes in a movie they can actually give you like an apple and you can actually bite into that apple for the shot, but they gave him some weird blue thing that he's actually not going to bite into. So it's like he just bites close to it, and then like this very loud like crunch effect. It just they didn't fool me. I thought it was funny.
You didn't fool me
with your weird fruit eating scene.
I was trying to find it. I haven't found a full picture of it and stuff like that, but there's the Fear I'm talking about right there, and that first shout to Cosmic Wonders YouTube channel, that first one, and even he puts it extremely happy smile. There's I haven't found it other than just people's thumbnails on YouTube, but like every shot he's looking like something. But yeah, I'll be interested next week to find out what the bag thing of if the Skrulls knew she talked to her dad and said, hey, let's screw this over because she's not with us anymore, or did she screw her dad over? Because I feel like, to me, if it's already episode 1 and 2 where we meet this character who's with these Skrulls, and it's just like, okay, she's already turned back to her dad, I'm kind of less invested. I don't know if I need that the whole series, but almost like the Maria Hill thing. Like, to me, that could have been like an episode 3 or 4 thing of her finally turning. Especially because, she said, they talk about the mom, and she goes, oh, she's dead. How'd that happen? And Talos goes, well, why don't you ask people you work for? I feel like I'd want more of her investigating that, looking into it. Also, she just can't go up to the people like, did you kill my mom? But for her just to flip right away, I get it's her dad, but clearly they've been divided. Talos says she's missing. So that could be like a little rushed, but I want to see again, because if she purposely like lied to them about the bags, right? Of like, oh, those will have the bombs in them, then it's like, okay, she's still on the bad guy side. So then I'll reject that or retract that when it happens. So that's where I'm waiting to see where this story goes. If it's just, hey, she's with Nick Fury in the team because Hill's dead, a little easy for me, a little eye rolly. Like I said, the wife being dead, that felt just kind of cheap and easy, but that's fine. I get what they're trying to do at the plant where he planted this thing. He's like, oh, look, it can take on Earth's forms and it can survive. And if you're like, oh, you always said it could, like I feel like they're trying to insinuate of like, instead of the Skrulls find their own home, like trying to live within humans or Earth and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what's going to, where it's going to go, but I feel like that's what they're trying to insinuate the writing. Yeah, I always like Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. I think just Ben Mendelsohn's a good actor overall, right? So I feel like he's one of those guys that he could get some kind of all right subpar stuff and make it great or at least good. So, and I liked him and Fury's interactions. I think my favorite scene with him, and maybe my favorite scene in the entire premiere, was they're looking for information. They have like a mini fight scene, which I almost didn't need the mini fight scene because he's like running up the wall and stuff. But I love that there's a fight going on and Fury shoots that Skrull and he's dead on the ground, and you see Talos looking very like disheveled and said, I think he said something like, I thought you said you wouldn't, or I told you no, pretty much saying like, hey, like we kind of have a rule, like you and I will work together, but don't kill any Skrulls, please. And he did. He just gunned him down. And I don't know now, is that supposed to show that Nick Fury's not the same? Where in the past, maybe he wouldn't have killed a Skrull?
Didn't you hear, Travis?
Yeah,
he's not the same.
And maybe that's what they're trying to insinuate, that in the past he would have just maybe taken them prisoner and talked to them, or now no F's given, he'll kill them. So I actually would like that as a storyline more. If we get to see more division between Talos and Nick Fury, I think that could create for some good drama. Like you said, Dylan, like, well, can we trust him? Well, that could play into that. And if Emilia Clarke is still with the bad Skrulls, maybe that's a way of trying to turn him over that side too, of Fury's lying to him, he's killed some Skrulls, maybe there's more going to come. So yeah, I think there's potential for that storyline, but it could have just been a one-off, and we'll kind of go from there. But that's a good thing with the debut, where there's things that, there are some things I didn't like, but there's things that are kind of blossoming and they can kind of go a couple routes. And there's some routes I like and some routes that might be a little cookie cutter, but guess we'll see, obviously. So,
I don't think I have really much else. Like, Gravik is a villain is a thing I can say, but I really don't have much more.
Yeah,
I was a bit surprised that they already had him
yeah.
blasting and stuff at the end of this episode. Just once again felt a little bit like too quick to get to some of that stuff, but yeah, he exists. I wouldn't say I'm excited to see more of him, but hopefully they give him a little bit more depth. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know if they have scenes where you have a character maybe that's closer to him that we can actually have conversations with him, because I don't foresee him and Nick being in the same room too often, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
I'm pulling up my notes now, but I think that's pretty much it.
I just wanted to touch upon like the whole thing with Talos' daughter. I think Emilia Clarke was fantastic, although I didn't really trust it, like her fake turn to being back with the good side, and like Talos is just sitting in the kitchen, and Nick and Maria get home, and he's just like, she's done, she's joined us. Like, that's a lot of faith you're putting into this person. Yeah.
I agree. It was a miscalculated move, but he's not the same Nick Fury, so he's gonna make some mistakes. It's gonna happen. So yeah, no, I looked at my notes. We've hit everything I want to talk about. So yeah, that's it. We'll be back next week to talk about Secret Invasion Episode 2. Maybe we'll find out about Hill. Maybe we'll find out about some more Skrulls. Hopefully get a bit more Rhodes. See what other things Nick Fury is not the same about. And we'll be here. Oh, go ahead.
There was no post-credit scene, right? I backed out
No.
like right when it ended. Okay.
No, we're all good there. So there we go. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week, and it'll not be boring.
See ya.